I'm very glad that we have Scott Strode with us today. Scott is an accomplished triathlete, mountaineer, ice climber, outdoorsman, and recovering alcoholic, and the founder and national executive director of the nonprofit Phoenix Multisport. I'm following this organization on Facebook for a while, and when you're having a really rough day with sort of Capitol Hill politics, you should just watch a little bit of what they're doing, and it gives you hope for why we're all working on this. And it's a very hopeful message, and I think can sort of show why we're doing this work and what an important element recovery supports are in a comprehensive response. Phoenix Multisport has provided free programs to over 19,000 individuals, including programs for active duty members of the military and the veterans community, drug courts, college students, and families. It also has 19 years in recovery. So thank you so much, Scott, for being here today.
Thanks for having me here. So as you heard, I'm a person in long-term recovery. Had my first beer when I was 11. One of my cousins gave it to me. Tried cocaine the first time at 15, and I had just gotten out of a psych ward for being suicidal. For years I thought there was something wrong with me, that I was broken. And what I started to learn over time was that I had a lot of trauma from my childhood. And more, as those 19,000 people have come to Phoenix Multisport, what I've started to see is that trauma really is our public health crisis. And that's where we need to intervene to prevent first use and to break the cycle of addiction in families. But that didn't happen in my family, so I found myself medicating that pain. I also had, the nature side had loaded the gun with the genetic predisposition. But the nurture side had pulled the trigger, if that makes sense. So for years I was drinking and drugging, got sober in my early 20s. And for me, going up to the top of mountains and crossing finish lines is how I healed that self-esteem piece. And when I healed that self-esteem piece, it was possible for me to then get sober, if that makes sense. So I wanted to create a place where anybody who has 48 hours clean and sober could show up and access that same thing. So our programs, we run them in 6 cities and 4 states, Colorado, California, Idaho, and Massachusetts. And we do have plans to take over the world. That's our goal. Because what we do is we create a safe, supportive environment for people to show up and feel welcome and supported. So 48 hours clean and sober, you have to adhere to a code of conduct. And that says that anything that isn't nurturing isn't welcome. And it's a simple piece of paper, 1 page long, but that is the real structure of our program. And we try to be guides, cultural guides to people who may have grown up in an environment where they didn't learn what nurturing meant. So we have people coming out of the criminal justice system. We have families that come. We have veterans that come. We have people coming right out of formal treatment programs. And I think it's important to say while we're in front of you guys is that treatment is great, and it's one piece of the continuum, but simply, putting more ambulances out there and handing out bandages will not solve mass shootings, right? It's the same thing with addiction. We're not going to fix it with this acute care approach. We have to help people build sustained recovery. And so creating community organizations that are free and easily accessible is critical. And a lot of the funding that we see going into states is around treatment. The block grants around treatment. Treatment programs are funded. There's a huge river of money that runs through the treatment field. But recovery support, everybody here, I'm guessing, carved their program out of the wilderness with almost nothing. Because we saw people relapse as they come out of formal programs. And we wanted to be there for them. So essentially how Phoenix works, you might show up at one of our programs. Say it's rock climbing, mountain biking, hiking, camping, yoga, strength training, boxing, whatever it is, a multi-day camping trip. You don't need any of the equipment. You don't need to have ever done it before. You just need a desire to change your life. And you show up in a place where everybody believes in you, even if you don't yet believe in yourself. We turn you on to sports like boxing or climbing, and inherent in those things is this transformative power, right? You get to the top of the climb, you put that weight overhead, and all of a sudden you stand a little prouder and a little taller. And it kind of, the self-esteem ember starts to smolder. And once that's happening, who knows what the possibility is? And when you're shocked by the realities of life, You realize, I have a positive coping mechanism. I can get in the gym with my buddies. They're all in recovery. They support me. They believe in me. And I don't have to drink because I've faced harder things than this at the top of a mountain or on the back of a mountain bike. And it's real. We wake up that dopamine response of the brain, right? Like you walk in and say, I'm a junkie. I've been on the streets. I've been homeless. And I say, I don't really care. Your kettlebell weighs 53 pounds, just like mine. Let's grab it and start working out. And in that sweat, we shed the armor. And facing the greater adversity of that workout together, we build the bond that becomes our friendship, and our sober network has grown. So that's essentially how Phoenix works.